order out dishes. I can't even imagine approaching it at home. A little intimidated. So today, for the first time, I'm going to try making paella live for you so that I can make all the mistakes, all the errors, and hopefully come out with something that is edible for Hubs and I. So welcome to my stream. I'm Philly, and I'm so excited and nervous for the stream today. So one of my good friends on Twitter was telling me that I should pour a glass of wine, so I did, and it's a rosé, so rosé all day. And hopefully it will calm my nerves and keep me a calm cook that is quite versed in all of this paella business. So I will tell you that I will be making mistakes today. I'm gonna put that right out there. As all of us home cooks, we can make many mistakes even on dishes we cook all the time, but especially when we're cooking something for the first time. And I will also put a disclaimer out that this will not be the most authentic paella. I'm going to try to make it the most authentic I can make it where I live. I did make one little error with the rice, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. It is a Spanish rice, but I was reading and poring over so many different recipes, watching so many videos, and really trying to absorb all there was to know about making a Paella Valenciana, which is where it all started in Spain. So, so bear with me, and again, I'm gonna try to make it as authentic as possible, and I hope at the end you will feel brave enough to make paella if you haven't already, and learn from my mistakes and enjoy it just as much as I do at home.
Give Amy a call out.
What's that?
Amy a call out. She's one of
Oh yes, absolutely, and I do want to give my sweet friend Amy a call out because she inspired me to go past my edge, go past my fear, and actually make this delicious dish. So just to tell you a little about the ingredients we'll be using today. One of the things I found out in researching about paella is really how it started and what traditionally went in in Valencia and the paellas that were first had. They were very much a kind of a peasant food. They were made by everyday people over an open fire. And that is one thing that, while I have a gas stove, it will be hard for me to replicate the open fire. I do not have a paella pan. This is my first time. I am going to use my largest fry pan I have, which is it's one of those anodized steel. So it's a heavy pan, and I'm hoping it'll help me do a pretty nice job making the dish today. But some of the very traditional ingredients that would go into a true paella Valenciana would be chicken, rabbit, sometimes snails would be thrown in. They would involve olive oil, 2 beans, and I'm forgetting the one bean, but one of them is the garofo bean, and then the other one, which I'm forgetting, it just left my mind. But the 2 beans aren't ones that we can find here in the States. So I am substituting with green beans and lima beans. I looked for fava beans, lima beans, or fava beans or butter beans could be a substitute, and was only able to find some frozen lima beans, so that's what we're using today. I am using a Roma tomato, which would be indicative, that kind of tomato, really, any tomato would be fine. I'm using saffron. I am also going to be adding some pimentón, which is the Spanish smoked paprika, and using that today. Now, some traditional Valenciana paellas do not use actually the pimentón, this smoked Spanish paprika. But because I am using the protein that I'm using, which is going to be just chicken thighs, I felt like I wanted to give a little bit of a flavor boost. You could just use water, by the way, for liquid for cooking your rice, but I'm going to use chicken stock because I really want to make sure, since I'm not having bones and skin and rabbit and snails, I want to make sure I have a very flavorful paella. So some paellas use the smoked Spanish paprika, and others do not. Like for a traditional one, it might have not been used. So, and then I am using, so it was really between which rice to get. So again, I was reading and poring over many different articles and blogs and recipes, and I knew that bomba rice was the most common rice to get. I knew to be careful when getting bomba rice to try to really get the the authentic one. And then one of the, a person from Spain who wrote a blog about paella, she was talking about this one rice, like senia rice maybe, and I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but I could not find that. That was her preference. And then she also mentioned bomba or calaspara. Well, I was able to find calaspara rice, so I got that, but I will tell you, I wish now I had bomba. But calaspara is a Spanish rice, and that's my only misstep, that I wish I would have stuck with bomba instead of calaspara. But when I saw it, I thought, oh, I'm going to get that. So that is the rice I'll be using. And you could substitute arborio rice. You'll see 2 links below from the man, José Andrés, who he's one of the people I really most tried to absorb and watch different videos and read articles about how he does it. But then also I love Kenji, who is on the Serious Eats website, and he is such a food scientist that I kind of wanted to see what his take was. So I included both links below, a link about an article that was written about José Andrés and included his recipe that he would recommend for Paella Valenciana, and then as well as Kenji's, which is a video. And in his video and description, he has the recipe. So I'm kind of doing a combination of both of theirs plus some other things I've read, which is why the Valaspara rice is going to be used, or Calaspara rice is going to be used. So let's see who is on today. Hi, Amy. Thank you for inspiring me to go past my fear and try this paella dish today. And I see Matthew. Oh, Matthew, welcome. He mentions a good Spanish dish he had from Spain. Below were braised pickled quail, spinach salad with Creole sauce, and pasta with butter and Parmigiano potato omelette. That sounds delicious. And bake across Europe. Oh, wonderful. I'm so glad that you joined. Welcome to our stream. And yes, you will have to try it. And again, so I will, let me first saying hello, but then I did want to tell you something specifically about the pie I'm making tonight. And I see Eugenia there. Hi, Eugenia. And Paul, here's my wine friend. Cheers to you. Let me take a little sip. And yes, Eugenia, what you just said, José Andrés should have the Nobel Peace Prize. Honestly, as a home cook, he inspires me as not just a chef might inspire to be, but as anyone might be. He is just so giving, and the way he has created that organization that goes out to any place in need and brings food, and brings, by the way, regional food to those places, does the work, finds out what is going to be comforting to those people in all the corners of the earth that he goes to. I just think it's an amazing, amazing thing. And by the way, in my very first stream, I mentioned World Central Kitchen and all the wonderful work he does, and try to promote and encourage people to consider that. We have so many different places we could give, but that is definitely, in my opinion, a really wonderful, wonderful organization. And then Marissa, yes, oh my goodness. Oh, now I'm really nervous, Marissa, you're making it tomorrow. So forgive me again for whatever mistakes I make, and I cannot wait to see yours tomorrow. So wonderful, wonderful. Oh, and what are you sipping, Paul, over there? I have the rosé today, but I'm not sure what you're sipping. You'll have to let me know. Okay, so I will have to tell you a short little story before we begin. In fact, let me get the chicken out while I'm telling a story. So when I was talking to Hubs about making this, he was very excited because I've never made paella before, and we both enjoy paella. And honestly, we don't have a lot of places that have good paella, and so that's kind of a little itty-bitty complaint we have, because we do enjoy it, but I've never felt brave enough to do it on my own. So when I was telling him about the paella, he's like, well, there's going to be seafood in there, isn't there? And I was like, well, because one of the paellas we used to enjoy over in New Jersey, in Collingswood at Casona, theirs was a seafood-based paella. But when I told him, I said we were not, and he looked so sad. I'm not going to lie. He looked so sad and just a wee bit angry, or disappointed would probably be a better word. He's like, well, why not? And I said, well, in doing research, I found that truly when you go back to the original paella, it harkened from a much more simple dish. And so it was with the foods that they had around them. And there were the things like rabbit and chicken and even snails that were thrown in, and then 2 different kinds of beans. And so I said, I feel like I need to honor this recipe and start with the original, as much OG as I'm able to go, and then go from there. So I said, I will make you a seafood paella someday. I said, but let me practice and learn first from the original one so that I can kind of give homage, so to speak.
So angry was more appropriate. Just
He
saying.
was a little bit angry and huge disappointed. He's like, really? You're really not adding seafood? I
It's
said,
not
nope.
that hard to throw in some shrimp.
Like, I'm not. So, and by the way, and I told him this too, and he wasn't super pleased. I said, actually, in Spain, I won't say they never, but it is really a no-no to combine seafood and other protein, like living or land protein together. So seafood stays with seafood, and the land protein stays with the land protein. So, in fact, even though here in the States you'll see lots of seafood paellas with chorizo, sausage, that is also a no-no. So it was just kind of funny. But aside from all of that homage to the original dish, I will say, as a cook and as a consumer, one of the things both Hubs and I really enjoy is going to restaurants that put fusion, right? That put different styles together, different ingredients together, different ethnicities together. We love that. Like, so I think when cooks get creative, I think some of the very best meals are made.
Yeah, like when they put shrimp in the meal.
So let's get started. Let me just catch up real quick before I begin. And I'm going to get actually my pan heated while I'm chit-chatting a little bit longer and catching up with chat. And actually, you know what? I am going, okay. I'm going to be doing, so I want to try to mimic this fire. So again, this is really done over an open fire where in these big paella pans, and they're adjusting the wood to the heat that they need. So at the very beginning, I want some high heat. But then once I move stuff out to the edges, I don't want the heat as much on the edges as it is in the middle. So I'm going to start, and I'm going to bring this camera over when I begin, just so you know, because I want you all to see exactly what's happening. But I'm going to start with my bigger burner because I'm going to be browning the meat first. So, and that I need the whole pan for, so I'm just going to get that whole thing heated up on medium high to high heat. All right, so let that get heated, and then I'll be adding some olive oil. So let me tell you a little bit about the process. Oh, but let me just check in real quick. Let me see here, and let's see. Oh, Marissa, you're very kind. And Matthew saw Spanish rice on Iron Chef. Wonderful. Let's see here. And Amy said, my nan used to do both fish and chicken paella. Absolutely amazing. Oh my goodness. There is a certain paella rice if you want the proper version, isn't there? Yes. So bomba is the most traditional, but when I was reading a blog from someone, a cook from Spain, she mentioned two other rices. The one I thought was like senia or something, seria something, and then I couldn't find that, and then calaspar, and that is the rice which I landed on. Although, as I said, right now I do wish I had stuck with the traditional bomba. But they're all, so the benefit of trying to find one of these Spanish rices instead of using arborio, because Kenji talks about being able to use arborio. The one thing you do have to be careful with is arborio, what makes it such a creamy risotto is how the rice cooks. And so there's a couple things we'll be doing with paella. We will not be stirring much at all because you don't want to get it to be creamy. You want the rice to kind of cook in a certain fashion. This is not risotto. This is something very different. So having the specific Spanish rice will actually help you achieve the results because an arborio rice used will achieve a creamier result, which might be tasty, but maybe is not what you want. And one of the biggest things I'm hoping to attain today, but not expecting, I'm gonna be completely honest, is the prize socarrat, which is the crispy underside. I don't have the right pan. I mean, I don't have the right fire, so I'm not expecting it, but you know what? Wouldn't that be lovely to have that crispy underside? So anyway, so that's the rice. And so that was a great question, Amy. And Amy, did you see Amy agrees with you, Hubs? She's on Team Hubs with fish.
Yeah.
And Marissa's doing seafood too. So I'm about the only one sticking OG right here. And then Post says, I have a Zona Blanc de Blanc, South African through and through. Oh, that sounds fabulous. A fruity wine with nuances of guava and asparagus, delish. That sounds wonderful. And Eugenia was thinking of buying a propane burner because we're all electric. Interesting, absolutely. And if you do, Eugenia, let me know what you get, because I'm actually thinking about getting either a propane or another kind of burner style that I can just have here with my streams. So I'm kind of looking at some different options. And Post says, my sister is currently in Barcelona, not a fan of the food there. Oh no, uh-oh. And Post says, I prefer paella with seafood, not any other proteins. Wonderful. And then, yes, so it's funny. Marissa, you say Amada. We have been to Amada many times. We love Amada. But, sweetie, I don't remember if we got paella there. Because we got all the tapas. We got like all the sharing dishes.
Yeah,
like we just go there and we order tons of dishes and just share everything.
That's a really good point. We probably
I know,
should,
right? Jose, be so disappointed in me. Oh my goodness.
considering it's like, definitely within walking distance.
Absolutely. Oh, and they add mussels, and Hubs would like that. He loves the mussels.
See?
I know, and even some. I'm just saying, I wanted to start where it began. I just wanted to be OG here with this. He's gonna be on me until I make him a seafood paella. And Archie's here, and thank you so much, Arch. That's awesome. All right, so let's begin. So my pan is getting warm. We're not going to be kneading our rice for a little while, so I'm going to put it away. The very first thing we're going to be doing is and I'm going to move my camera, is we're going to be getting the chicken browned. So I'm going to move my camera so y'all can see what's going on in Philly's kitchen with my nice hole there. Y'all know about the hole. I'm telling you. Let's just see if we can get that hole fixed by the new year.
This weekend, right?
Right. I thought you were going to do that.
No, I did the fridge thing.
Okay, we're not going to go there. So I've got my pan that's getting nice and hot. I'm just going to be adding about, I don't know, a couple tablespoons to maybe a quarter cup of olive oil there, because we're going to be using this for the whole shebang, okay? So we want a deal of olive oil there, and it is going to be hot instantly because I preheated my pan. I have it on 8 right now. Now, it was really interesting, and I think this might have been Jose Andrés, the OG man, is I'm going to add my chicken thighs, and he suggests high heat. He also says not to salt it until after it is browned, which I thought was really interesting. So, you know what? That's what I'm going to do. I cut my thighs. These are boneless, skinless chicken thighs. So this is a Philly preference. You absolutely could use the skin and the bones, and it would give you better flavor for sure. But part of the reason that I'm making sure I'm using a stock instead of just water is because I know I won't have the flavor from bones and skin and all that sort of thing. Plus, I won't be adding rabbit and snails and all that. So I really want to be able to give the flavor I can to my final paella, which is, again, also why I'm using the Spanish smoked paprika, which is pimenton. I have smoked paprika, but not the Spanish one. And apparently this one's, I think, going to be a little sweeter. I'm so excited to try this because I have this smoked paprika, which when I come to think of it, I'm like, I don't really know where it's from. And I'll have to look on the back to see if it tells me. But I got the true stuff. I also, of course, have the saffron. And one of the things I'm doing is I have some hot water here, and I'm going to put a pinch of it. Now, I was watching lots of videos, and I'll tell you, and so this is that beautiful saffron. I'm just going to get a pinch. Ooh, a lot comes out with a pinch. There we go. Get a pinch, and I'm going to put it in my warm water, my hot water, and let it just kind of like do its thing. Now, in some of them, they actually put it, I know, and Kenji did this too. He put it right onto, directly onto the ingredients at a certain point in the cooking process. But others did put it diluted or put it either in the broth or in some hot water. So it was hard. You know, it's really, I think one of the things that we know about foods is that, you know, all of us chefs, we kind of put our own spin on it. And I bet you even with the, you know, the OG paella, that's what happened there too, right? You know, someone put it in with the water, someone put it in, you know, directly on top. So again, all I'm doing now is I'm just getting some browning. So I'm just going to flip my pieces here. getting some browning going. And then next, let me bring my you guys all over so I don't miss anything. Let me bring you all over, 1 second. Okay. So next, after we get finished getting the meat brown, I'm going to salt it, and then we're going to start adding the beans, okay? And at that point is when I'm going to bring it over here and use this burner so that I can have it more concentrated in the middle and then the meat hanging out on the edges. So I think I'll start salting it now since I can get the salt on some of those pieces. So anyway, so how was everyone's weekend? What are y'all cooking this weekend? I know Marissa's going to do this tomorrow, which I'm so excited. I can't wait to see how that looks. And let's see, you liked the bottle you placed on your counter. What bottle did I place on my counter? Do you know what bottle I placed on my counter? Tell me where, Poe. I'm not sure where. Is it the olive oil? This one? Is that the one you were? Oh, maybe it's just the olive oil. Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, I'm very excited about the Spanish smoked paprika for sure. All right, so this is getting about brown, so I'm going to get this flame over here on so that I can get it shifted. And see what'll happen with this flame, because it's a smaller burner, is it's going to keep it concentrated right there. But I might need to shift it back once I get to the point of bringing up, when I add liquid and bringing everything up to a boil, because that will give me a more rapid boil. Because part of what I'm learning with paella is adjusting heat for the cooking process. So right now we need the high heat, and soon we'll just need it mostly in the middle. So I'm going to do a shift now. I'm going to bring this over. Make sure y'all can still see it. There we go. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to put these on the edges now. My chicken on the edges. And in are going to go some beans. So first are my green beans. Here, they just cut them into kind of like, I don't know, 1.5 inch size pieces. And get those in the middle. Now, I added more green beans than they said. They were saying like a scant cup, and I was like, no, I can't do that. So you know me, I got to be me. So I put in, I don't know, I put in maybe 2 cups, maybe 1.5 cups. So it is.
Wait a minute, you put in more green beans, but no shrimp, right?
We need our veggies, friends, right? Now I'm going to get my frozen lima beans.
That's just,
Those are going to go in too.
just you being you.
Hubs continues to be displeased with me. Oh my goodness. Now, I will have to tell you that as a child, I was not happy with lima beans. Never was fond of lima beans. And I liked a lot of vegetables. So it felt weird getting some lima beans. So if any of you have good lima bean recipes, let me know. I know. I didn't have butter beans either, though. So anyway. So I'm going to put in 2/3 cup of lima beans. That's what, I think this was from José Andrés that had that. And mine are frozen. I'm going to get these put away. So you can see already that my pan is just not like super equipped for this. And one of the things Kenji did, because he was kind of running the same situation with pan space and everything, is he just at this stage really did kind of mix all of them together and didn't really worry too much about that. So I'm just getting these all tossed around. And I'm going to add some salt and pepper. It's funny, in the recipe I saw nothing about pepper, which I thought was really interesting. I love me some pepper, so I got to put some pepper in. So that's a rule breaker, unless anyone knows from authenticity if it isn't. But I did not see pepper in any of them, which I thought was really interesting. All right, so we're getting these just browned a little bit. See, this looks so much better. Look at the color contrast. We've got protein, but then we have all this veg, right? That's a good thing. And also, I think about the rice, and when I add the broth and everything, like that's going to give flavor too, like those extra green beans. Besides health, that's going to kind of give us a little bit more health benefits, right? Let me see what I'm missing. So Amy was saying, I have a week off my exams, so we've just been chilling and doing some garden work. That's wonderful. Oh, I'm sure you are such a help with your dad there. And that's awesome to have a week off exams. So are exams done then, Amy? I hope they are for you. And Eugenia just finished a pathway in the garden today. That's awesome. I know, Eugenia, see, Eugenia. Oh my gosh, we meet on so many things, don't we, my friend? So yes, I can't bear lima beans. And isn't it funny? Because like it's all stuff from our childhood. And I don't know, like I feel like lima beans were way overused when I was a little girl. So I'm anxious to try them in this recipe. And Eugenia, you know I will give you my honest opinion. And I will have to say that at this point in my life, I like beans so much more than I liked back. I mean, I liked beans, but like, I mean, I've eaten so many different beans now. Like I'm much more of a bean connoisseur now, if I do say. All right, so now that we've gotten our meat browned and we've added our beans and gotten them seasoned, what we're going to be doing is, again, we're going to be pushing this all to the outer edges in just a minute. So one of the things, this is going to be fun, is I'm going to be taking 3, because 2 are kind of small, Roma tomatoes, and I'm going to be crushing them with a box grater over top in the middle and letting that kind of cook and concentrate. So that is going to be our tomato. You could just use some canned tomatoes, and actually Jose has that in his recipe, but I've seen many authentic recipes talking about just grating the tomato right in, and Kenji did it, and I thought, okay, I've never done that, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to push everything again to the edges. You can see a theme now, right? Getting everything pushed to edges. And then I'm going to get this grated in. So let's do it. And then you just go to a point, as far as you can go, and then you start with the next tomato. Let's try not to make a mess of everything. So I'm just going to, and hopefully I don't cut myself. He made it look a lot easier, I'm not going to lie. Kenji, that is. But he makes everything look easy, doesn't he? He's an amazing chef. I love watching his stuff. But look, it's working. See my little purees going in there of my fresh Roma tomato. There we go. Leaving back that. That could go in, if we had a compost, that could go in a compost pile or into a stock. There we go. This will give nice flavor. Now we want this to reduce by like half, and we want the color of the tomato to darken. There we go. We're good. Let me put this back in the sink. All right. There we go. And Marissa, you were saying something about that I'm torn because I want to do Afghani this week. So are you meaning Afghani recipes? I need to know more about what you were meaning there. Meanwhile, I'm just going to stir this a little bit in the middle. Again, I just want this to reduce. I'm going to leave this on this high heat, letting reduce. And I'm also going to be adding, so I noticed that with one of the recipes where they added the smoked paprika, they added this thyme. So this is kind of up to me. I love paprika. So you could go where you add a half to 1 teaspoon. That's kind of what I saw for recipes of about the same amount. So I'm going to go with almost 1 teaspoon because I love paprika. So I'm going to add it here. Saffron goes in with the broth. And because I'm already blooming it right now. I'm blooming the saffron in some hot water. In fact, let me stir that a little bit. Yes. But I did also read that you don't want to use too much saffron because, right, like I did here with the paprika, I had seen, someone say a half teaspoon. I saw another recipe that used a full teaspoon. And you might think to yourself, well, I love saffron, so more is better. Well, apparently if you use too much saffron, it'll give kind of a chlorine taste. So you don't want to use too much. You actually, and it's great because saffron's, I believe is the most expensive herb kind of product. I know it's not herb, it's a stamen, but it's that kind of seasoning that you can buy. And, ooh, it's already, I know part of this is coloring because of the pimenton, but also it is reducing, which is super exciting to see. So yeah, so you don't want to go OD on your saffron. So I thought that was I would have never known that. It would have been me that was like, oh, a little's good, a lot more is better, right? All right, and let me see if, I'm trying to think if they added any salt at that point to the tomatoes. I'll be you know what, I'll check the salt once I get all the liquids in there and boiling. In fact, let me get a spoon. Because one of the things I thought was great that Kenji mentioned when he was tasting the broth is, you know, testing for seasoning, but you also have to know that all of that is going to get reduced, right? The liquid's going to be totally reduced into the rice. So you don't want to go too crazy and then over salt it. So that's just something to keep in mind. So that's for later. But look how this is reduced. You can see it's becoming a really beautiful red. And I know some of that's from the paprika, but it's also from it reducing there. That's awesome. So I think we have a few more minutes to go. By the way, our next step after this reduces a little bit more is we are going to be adding the stock and the saffron and rosemary. And then we are going to let that boil. We're going to shift that to the back burner, let that boil on high for about 2 or 3 minutes. At that point, that's when I will taste, you know, the concoction at this point and see if I need to adjust any seasonings. But right now, like, I think these tomatoes are reducing quite nicely. We want them to get good flavor. I'm going to add a little salt because I just feel like I added just plain old tomatoes there. They got to have at least a little bit of salt there. Okay. There we go. All right. So now I'm just going to mix everything all together. And I'm going to get my other burner back there going. And I'm going to do a little shift. And that way, oh, this looks so good. And I love the red hue that the Spanish paprika lends. Like, that's just awesome. Okay. Now, as I add the liquid, I will talk about another decision that I had to make, and I stuck with José Andrés for this in a more traditional approach. The more traditional approach is doing the liquids first and then adding the rice. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm just going to do my broth first. So I'm not going to want to add all this broth. I have 3 cups of broth here. I'm going to be adding 1 cup of the rice. So I'm going to just want to add about 2.5 cups of this, and then I can always add more if it seems like it needs it at the end, and we'll talk about that a little bit too. Okay. I still think I need a little bit more. Okay. There we go. So we're going to let this come to a boil. I'm going to get my saffron in there. There we go. So I want this on a high boil. I want it to be bubbling away. Oh, hi, Kath. How are you? I know she's working today, so she might not be able to chat much, but thank you for joining. And I think Jersey Girl has joined too because she said she was coming on. So hi, Jersey Girl, if you're back there. And anybody else that's watching from afar, just know that I appreciate you being there. So we are on the next phase where we're going to bring this to a boil and let this boil for about 2 or 3 minutes. So one of the things that, you know, I've done with rice many times in different dishes, and I'm not just talking about with risotto, but with any rice, this is sometimes, you know, toasting the rice, it gives like a nice little flavor. And so I know with Kenji's recipe, when he did his version of it, he did toast the rice. And I totally respect that. I get it. Like, there's part of me that wanted to toast the rice first. But I did want to try to stay as OG as I could, knowing that I had some limitations here with my ingredients and everything. And so yeah, so I'm going to be adding the rice after. I'm going to get measured right now just so it's ready. And at that point, oh, and also I forgot, I also want to add my rosemary at this point. So I'm adding a sprig of rosemary there for flavor. So let me get this opened up and get my little cup container. It does really smell good. And I want to show you this rice. Okay. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. You see that rice? I don't know if you can see it well. Just little guys there. Just little guys. Cute little fellas that are going to be absorbing the liquid as it's cooking. And while that's happening, we'll be making a salad that we're going to have with it. And yeah, so I want this, so it has reached a boil. I want it at kind of a high boil. And I can see, and also one of the things I talk about is noticing where there's hot spots where your stuff is cooking, when you might want to adjust and move your pan. So let's see, get this all going appropriately. One of the things you'll notice once we begin cooking is you will not be stirring the pot. When you make risotto, I love making risotto. I did a stream on it this summer, or when did I do that stream, babe? Do you remember?
What's that?
On the risotto stream? Remember when I did the asparagus? Oh, it was in the spring because I made asparagus risotto, where you're pretty much constantly stirring it. As I said, you don't want to do that because you're not making risotto. You want to make the paella. So it'll be a mixture of, once we add the rice, we are going to let it boil for about, I believe I figured, about 10 minutes at a high simmer. And then we're going to be turning it down to a low simmer, a medium low to low simmer, and letting it go there for about 8 to 10 minutes until everything's absorbed. If it seems like it's absorbing too fast, I have some extra stock, or we could just add water to it, because it should take about, once we get the rice in, about 15 to 20 minutes to cook. And then we will ramp up the heat for about 2 minutes to high to try to get that sucrot on the bottom. Then we'll take it off the heat, we'll cover it, and let it sit for 5 minutes before we dig in. So right now it is at its high simmer. I'm going to just taste the broth so I can kind of see where we are with flavor.
You good with your wine?
Yep. And I'm going to take this rosemary out before we add the rice, so I just want to make sure I'm keeping an eye on it. Okay. There we go. This looks a nice bit. Hopefully I don't burn my tongue. Ooh. Ooh. That's nice. I don't think, because it's already salty, I don't want to get any saltier.
Good taste?
Mm-hmm. Because it will reduce, so I'm not going to be adding any more.
I'm going to burn myself, aren't I?
Don't, you try not to burn yourself. Oh, we have such a great crew here. I'm so excited.
That is good.
And Eugenia's got to go. Bye, Eugenia. Have fun with the garden store. And yes, thank you for joining us. All right, so it has been a good amount, about 2 or 3 minutes now that it has been at a high boil. So now we are going to add our rice, and this is where it gets a little crazy. So I'm going to keep it on this. I might need to shift it over here if I need a lesser simmer once we get to low. So we'll just see. So, okay. So before I put this in, this is where it gets a little dicey. So I've seen all over the place about the rice. I know in general, after it gets to a certain point, you do not stir it. But like in Jose, who's OG, he talks about stirring it for like the first part, but no one else did. So I feel bad going against him, but I feel like I'm just going to give it a little stir at the beginning and then stop. And I'm just going to put this all around my rice. I do want to get it incorporated. So do a little stirring at the beginning. Just get it around where it needs to be. Make sure it's not floating on top of that chicken piece, because it won't cook as well if it's on top of the chicken piece. Get everything kind of turned around. And I'm just going to flip my chicken a little bit, make it look a little prettier. And Hubs is going to scowl that there's no seafood there. Okay. Kind of get everything where it should be. And then they also suggest shaking the pan a little bit just to make sure that it seems pretty even. So it should be a pretty, I put it around evenly. That should be pretty even where let me just turn the chicken over, where the rice is.
It looks pretty.
And then I do need to get that rosemary out because as I did say, no, I've lost my rosemary. Oh my. And Hubs is laughing at me. What is new? You know what? It's such a big sprig, and I can't.
Searching for
and really,
rosemary.
I can't find it. Are you serious? Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh.
You sure you didn't take it out already?
No, I didn't take it out. and now I am stirring it. Oh, there it is. Okay, there it is. Oh my gosh. You know what? I have to give you all something to laugh at and chuckle at, right? If I wasn't giving you a good chuckle, I wouldn't be doing my job. So there's your chuckle for the day, y'all. Okay, there we go. I will say it looks gorgeous. So I'm going to bring you all a little closer. You can see what's happening here. There we go. Let's see. Look at that. So it's at a high simmer, which is what we want. And I'm going to set my timer for 8 minutes because it's probably already been about 2 minutes because I was fishing out that rosemary sprig. Don't do what I did. Let me get my timer going. 8 minutes. All right.
Pretty good wine.
Oh, yes. What kind of rosé is it? I forget. And I'm going to just shift a little bit because I feel like there's that one side that's just a little hot.
Archie said, Hubs, don't you have a car to wash? I am pretty sloppy today.
Okay. So I'm going to actually bring y'all over. I will bring the camera when y'all want to take a peek. But we're going to be getting our salad ready now. So let me just bring this over. Whoops. Sorry, friends. Sorry for any dizziness that I caused. There we go. I can put my laptop back farther. I know. Tell her I'm trying not to talk so much. It is hard. You know, you can't, what do they say? You can't teach an old dog new tricks, right? Yeah, I know. That's a tough one. And, you know, I will have to tell you, Poe, I come by it honestly because I'm one of those that is uncomfortable with silence. So, you know, if I go on an interview or places where I need to be less chatty, like I really have to pull back. And I will say the place I probably excel best at it is as a teacher because I am queen of making sure I give good wait time for my kids to give answers because you know, kids don't want to be wrong and they get nervous. And so I give them good wait time where it's just silent and I'm like letting them have time to figure out like what they think the word is or whatever we're doing in our lesson per se.
So can't you pretend like this is just a classroom?
Right,
And talk a little bit less?
okay, I will tell you, this is where I struggle with a live stream because this is a live stream. So this isn't a video because they talk about in videos to like cut out any airtime, right? So if you would make a video, you want to go right from one thing to the other, one statement to the next. So in a live stream, I don't know, you know. And it was actually interesting to watch Kenji do his. He did his, it was during the pandemic. He had on a camera that was, like I think it was attached to here or his head or something facing down at the paella pan. He was outside. And he definitely seemed less nervous than me, but he's also an amazing chef. So, you know, there you go. But, you know, we kind of just talked about, like, his daughter came out and he was chit-chatting with her. Like, he was actually quite chill in the whole process. I was really impressed. So we are going to make a salad to go with this because we've got, you know, a pan that's going to be cooking a long time with, not like a long time, but, you know, longish time with the beans and the chicken and the spices and the broth and the rice. So something fresh for me would be really good company. And this is a salad that we've made before, but that's what I'm going to be making again this time. And that is just a simple salad with that one vinaigrette that uses the Valencia orange olive oil. It's no, I take back. It's not Valencia orange. It's blood orange infused olive oil. It's just such a nice olive oil, and it came with this white balsamic vinegar, but I get this white balsamic vinegar that I love a lot when I don't feel like balsamic. It's a nice all-purpose vinegar. I use this probably, the three vinegars I use the most are my balsamic, this one, and then my red wine vinegar. Those are probably the ones I use the most. So we're going to be getting some lettuce and tomatoes. Let me get my lettuce out. So do y'all tell me what you're all having tonight? Like, what's everyone having for dinner tonight? Or if you've already had dinner. Amy and Archie, what do you guys have for dinner tonight? Get some. These are just some spring mix greens.
DrewTube's on.
Hey, Drew. Happy Sunday. Thanks for joining. We've been doing a lot of paella work, and now it's in the kind of the cooking phase where it has about 3 to 4 minutes left on its high boil. And then, by the way, I'm making a salad for two, so I don't want to get too crazy. And of course, this salad will not be as pretty as Archie's salads, but I'll do my best. So it's going to be about 3 more minutes on the high boil, and then it'll be going on a lower boil until everything gets absorbed, and then we're going to try to form the elusive sukarot, the crunchy part on the bottom of the rice. And they say that if you listen to the rice, it tells you when it's happening. That, like, if I listen to the rice right now, that I should be hearing a change as this continues, as this process continues. So I just think it's cool. I love the whole organic idea of everything. So I just think it's super cool.
So, Bake Across Europe said, live streams remind me more of the old-fashioned cooking shows.
What was that again? Say it again, hon.
Bake Across America, or Bake Across America. Bake Across Europe said, live streams remind me more of the old-fashioned cooking shows. I like the format. It's very personal and authentic.
Oh,
And then Amy said, if my dad could, he would make a 7-hour video just talking about cooking.
Oh, and I would listen to it.
And then Poe said, I had steak, potatoes, and butternut with my brothers, all grilled so they were happy. And Catherine said, tonight is chill, minced beef and beans, very hot over the whole wheat pasta.
Lovely. And by the way, speaking of the sound, do you have yours attached? You have yours attached, right?
I think I do.
I just want you to see. So I'm wondering if I will need to add more liquid at some point. Like, what I don't know is this too much, what is it called, evaporation so far. So let me show you what's going on over here now in that short time. Let me get over there. So you can see that it is really evaporating quite quick, as we would say. So what I'm wondering is if I might need to add a little more liquid, because obviously it's going to be cooking for at least another 5 minutes, but maybe even 10. But I don't really know, because I'm realizing now that is a detail I should have taken better note of, is when they reduced the temperature, what did it look like? And I'm kind of forgetting. So I'm actually, I'm going to think of what makes sense. What makes sense to me is that there's not very much liquid left there. So I think I might add just a smidge, because I didn't add, so it's a 3-to-1 ratio, by the way, of rice. It's, so I added 2.5 cups to 1 cup of rice. So I'm going to add just my little smidge more, maybe not all of it. Okay, I'm adding my smidge more, letting it come to that full boil, which I have, like, I think 37 more seconds, and then I'm going to move it. So I'm going to get this one on, so that I can get this one on a medium-low. Actually, you know what? This should medium-low well. If this doesn't medium-low, because then we want a medium to lower simmer, I will move it then. I don't think I need to move it yet. So I'm going to keep it high for just a little bit longer, and then we will turn it down and we'll see what happens. Oh, okay, gotcha. So Archie gave some advice on the end product of the paella. And yes, I do know that it should be moist for sure, but I do want that crispy bottom. And you can see, by the way, I'm just looking. Oh my goodness, I'm already flushed. It is quite warm over there by the stove, I'm not gonna lie. And being the age I am at, you never know when a hot flash is gonna come on, so.
How old are you?
And I'm drinking wine, so like the combination is just a joy, right, all? Okay. And he also, Amy said it was very good. Used an expensive piece of pork. I think you could really taste the difference. Oh, yeah, your dad makes the most amazing roasts for sure. All right, my timer went off, so I am reducing my heat to a medium low. And I'm going to do it for at least 5 minutes. And could be up to 10. So we'll just kind of look. So back to the salad. All right, so I've got my greens here. And then I'm going to just rinse some of these pretty little cherry tomatoes, some red and yellow ones that I got from my favorite store. Oh, Poe, I thought it was so funny that you and I both were using morels today. How funny is that? And I will also tell you that, so I had never cooked with morels before. And I am a cooking nerd, and I have no problem with it. So I'm cooking with morels the first time, and so I thought, well, I need to read up about them. I need to figure out what I'm going to do with them. How am I going to make it? Is there anything different with trimming them and all this kind of stuff? So in doing that, I was reading about these fake morels and how these mushrooms that are fake, they can give you quite the stomach distress, and some are quite poisonous that it could actually kill you. So I was like, oh, wow. I'm so glad I'm reading about this right now. And so anyways, I was reading all that and I saw how to find out if they're fake morels. And part of it is by cutting them in half so you can see and make sure that they are hollow, indeed hollow inside. So I did. And one of my morels, I didn't even tell you this because you would have.
What the hell? Are you serious?
One of them was filled. I showed you all that little video was filled with more mushroomy stuff. And I was like, oh.
You had me eat that? You didn't tell me that?
I didn't have you eat that. I didn't cook that. I threw it away. I tossed it. All the others were hollow. They were as they should be. See, you have to trust your cook. I wasn't worried about eating it. I ate everything. But I did not eat that one because I was so glad I looked that up. I was like, wow. And I will say just the lesson learned as cooks, when we are cooking with an unfamiliar ingredient, I'm putting a little salt and pepper. I do think it's good for us to read up, not only so we can prepare it the best that we're able to, but in something like vegetables and fruits that may or may not be like morels or foraged. Now, the ones I got at our nearby market, they were foraged by professionals, but even then, you saw, there was one of those fake ones.
They're bad professionals.
So I was so glad that I looked it up. So now I'm going to make my little vinaigrette, and I actually have some leftover shallots, way too many than I'll need, but some leftover shallots from my scrambled eggs and morel mixture that I had. So I'm going to actually transfer this into another, I'll put in this. I'll rinse out this saffron one. This is what I had my saffron blooming in. And I'm just going to make a simple vinaigrette with a little bit of shallot. I could add some mustard, but I'm not. I want it to stay super simple with just some shallot, some vinegar, and some of this blood orange infused oil. I think that will be like a lovely contrast. Those bright flavors will be a lovely contrast to our paella that's cooked for a little while. And these can go for something tomorrow maybe. I don't like wasting anything. So, okay. I will tell you, when looking for recipes, especially if you're looking for authenticity, one of the best things you can do is to go into the comments. Because on social media, they will let you and me have it, right? They will tell you if something looks inauthentic, breaking rules, how dare you? It's everything from, I remember I posted this video of, I forget what the pasta I was making, it was a short. And I actually did it in a, like one of those kind of pans, just because I wanted to cook the pasta in it and then set it aside and use that same pan for my sauce. And someone wrote on there, you put your pasta in the pan wrong. But my son, in all of his wisdom, has helped me realize that, you just can't pay everyone attention. That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to add just a little bit more of white vinegar here. I don't need a lot of dressing because we don't have a big salad. And then I'm just going to drizzle some of this. Oh, it's such good olive oil. I'm telling you. These infused olive oils, this would be amazing just drizzled on something. But also, I need my little whisk. Shall I get my rainbow whisk or just an ordinary whisk? Let me see. We'll keep the rainbow whisk there for right now because I don't have one this tiny. So you're safe, Arch. And I'm just going to whisk it up. I do not like a salad that's dressed too heavy. I like a lightly dressed salad for sure. Need a little salt and pepper in there. Let me put these here. So I got to show you what's happening. Let me just show you what's going on now with the paella. Ooh, and the 5 minutes are up, so it's a good time to show you. 5 minutes are up. And I don't know if you can hear it. I'll bring my thing over. Hear the crackling? That's actually a good sound. That's the sound we want.
All right, Amy's off.
Okay.
Archie said it's the rainbow whisk or me, Phil.
All right. Okay, so that was a good sound. I can't help it but just take one of those rice on top, and it has a little more bite than one would like, but it's sitting on top of the chicken, so what are we going to do about that, right? So I'm going to...
It certainly smell good.
I know it should. Yeah. So I feel like most of the water has absorbed. And I know I'm going to want to put it on high, but I just don't feel like that has been a very long time for the rice to cook. See, this is when you cook it the first time. You're doubting yourself. You're like, is it going to be okay? Is it going to taste okay? Right? But it definitely has a different sound. It's kind of crackling. And that's the sound she said you want to notice, like that it's crackling. That is what will eventually develop the succorat. So when we jam up the heat, that'll help really get it caramelized on the bottom. So because this is my first time, I'm going to get a little bit of rice in there just to kind of see what's going on in there. I need to know. That's still quite crunchy. So I'm going to add a little more water. Where's my little pot? I don't need to worry. Actually, I have a little bit of broth left. I can add to that. I don't want mushy paella, but I do want to make sure that it is not totally crunchy. Now, again, I was talking to someone. I just did a drizzle. There wasn't a lot of water, of liquid in there. I was talking with someone that said you want your paella to have a little bite like risotto does. You don't want mushy risotto. Same with paella. You want it to have a little bite. But I do want it to cook a little longer. So I'm going to put on here 4 minutes. And then I should be hearing that crackling sound again. And then I can ramp up the heat and then make sure we've gotten a nice succorat on the bottom, and then I'll cover it for 5 minutes, and then we will dig in. All right,
So let me ask you, so
Yes.
how are you feeling about this so far?
I'm just nervous that the rice won't be done. That's all.
Because you were a little bit of a
Well, I don't think you...
nervous
I
before
actually...
this thing started.
I don't think you knew how nervous I was to do
Yeah,
this.
well, I could kind of tell.
Because I got quiet. So you'd think he'd want me to be quiet. Wouldn't you, friends? Wouldn't you think he'd want me to be quiet?
Well, when you're quiet, you know it's unusual.
No, so I was fine, and Arch, you'll have to tell Amy, because I think she left. Oh, no, you're still on, Amy. She's still on. And thank you, Amy, for that compliment. So I was glad to do this challenge. So when Amy said paella, I was like, of course she said paella, because that's one of those things I haven't made yet. But I also was like, you know what? Like, how are you going to figure it out unless you try, right? So I was glad you said it. I was glad when I put it on the schedule. I enjoyed researching it. I enjoyed the information. I gathered the ingredients the best I could. And then about, I don't know, what time is it right now? It is 5 o'clock our time. So maybe around 2 o'clock, I started getting nervous. And honestly, I don't know why I was nervous. Because I feel really comfortable with you all. You know, and even you all who I don't know yet, but you all who are lovely enough to join me on chat. I truly enjoy the community we have here. We have the best community. I think, if I'm being honest, when you do a live stream, it's very
Put yourself out there.
You put yourself out there, and there's a better word for it. There's like, you're vulnerable in a way, right? Because you could mess up. Now, being it's my first time, it's not like I expect myself perfection my first time. I don't expect that. But I also know as a cook, I really enjoy food, and I also, when I do know something well, I want it to turn out well. And Andy will be like, this is delicious, and I'll be like, nope, it's not quite right. So any of you cooks out there, I don't know if Marissa, if you're like that, Archie, if you're like that, I know Eugenia's off, but Kath, Poe, I don't know if any of you are like that or baking across Europe, but he could enjoy something and I could be like, it wasn't quite seasoned right, or the texture wasn't quite right. And I still will kind of enjoy it, but I'm a bit of a fuss budget with that. But what's interesting is I still love to cook. So it hasn't harmed my enjoyment of cooking, but my word, I was nervous for this one. I'm not gonna lie. So our salad right there is ready. I'm not gonna I'll dress it once we get it covered. All right, okay. So, DS is the first person that asked me, like, I don't know, a few streams ago, like, what did he say? What makes me scared, or did he ask what am I scared to cook, or what intimidates me? Isn't that beautiful? Oh, don't you dare. You're not the cook. You don't get to do that. He doesn't get to do that.
Why not? I
Because
just want a little bit of rice.
No. You earn that. That is a, what do you call it? Not a responsibility. That is a privilege to do tastings before it's served. Tell me, friends, isn't that a privilege? He didn't even ask. He just went and started digging. Off with his head. So Archie said, thank you, Arch. You're very kind. He said, I'll do a video of paella with seafood chorizo and chicken in my paella pan. You have a paella pan. I love it. I got a pack of bumba rice last month. You can keep me to my word. I'll do the next few weeks. I would love that, Archie. And Hubs would especially love that because...
Yes, I would.
Because he would be like, thank you. You're doing it right, pal. Right, Hubs? That's what you would think.
That's correct.
All right, so our second time is up. It should be good. Let me just do what Hubs was trying to do without permission. I'm just going to get a wee bit of rice down there. Oh, much better.
You scolded me.
Oh, you meant...
May I please?
No, you get it on the plate. You get in front of y'all. Yes, seriously. Seriously. Now I'm going to ramp it up because I don't hear the crackling. So remember the last time I heard the crackling? That was the good sign, the sucrot, and I added more liquid. So I need to get that crackling back. So I'm going to turn up the heat until I hear that popping noise, the crackling noise. Of course, what they do say is you don't want to smell anything burning, of course, right? But we want that crackling. Ooh, see, can you hear it?
Yeah, I can't taste it, but I can hear it.
Well, can you hear it?
I can hear it.
Let me put my thing closer. Can you all hear it?
Don't burn yourself.
I'm not going to burn myself. Okay, so that's the sound we want. I want to go just for about 2 more minutes max. Well, I will say, even if it's not perfect, it has good flavors.
Needs a kick.
Who needs a kick?
Me.
Oh, absolutely. And Marissa's doing crab, shrimp, and lobster and mussels. Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. I can't wait to see it. That sounds fabulous. You all are wonderful. I love you all. You can't get, Arch, you can't get fresh crab or lobster locally. Well, that makes me very sad. I feel badly for that. Wow. But yours will be delightful. What kind of fish are you going to use, Arch? I would love, oh. My goodness. He is so bad. He is so bad. No respect. No respect for the chef that does all the work. My goodness.
Very good.
Did you literally get some?
A little bit.
Well, I'll get him back. I will most certainly get them back. All right, it's making a lovely sound. Nothing smells burned. You want it toasty. Oh, my goodness. Wow. So, Marissa and Archie, have you been able to achieve the sauerkraut on the bottom? Because that's the part that frankly we've gotten paella places, and even though we loved the paella at Casona, there was no sauerkraut. It was just really good. It was really good rice.
It's really interesting about the lobster, and so you said
Yeah,
unless it's Christmas
absolutely.
or special occasions, it's just too expensive.
So I have thrown meals away, Marissa. Oh my goodness. So when things have not met your standards, you've just tossed it. Oh, there we go. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to take it off the heat. I'm going to put on my lid. We're going to let it sit for 5 minutes, and then the big reveal. That is intriguing. And it says Cornwall fishermen deliver, but they want an $8 minimum for delivery. Wow, and for just 2 of you, like I already see how that's just a problem. So unless it's Christmas or a special occasion, yeah, absolutely. You may need the oven to get the crispy base. Yes, and I've heard that too. But I'm going to try it this way and just see. There was some good sounds, good popping sounds going from there, so we shall see. This will not be my first paella now that I'm over the fear and then can get creative. And I'm sure all the other paellas I make will always be seafood because that's what Hubs wants. But I am really excited to try this one, this OG method. So I'm going to give my dressing a taste, my simple vinaigrette, a taste and a stir. Oh, I love this light vinaigrette. If you can get any kind of infused orange vinaigrette, olive oil, I highly recommend it. It's just such a nice change. And especially, well, frankly, I think orange would be good any time of year. I don't think it has to just be, in the summer. I think orange and citrus is delightful in wintertime. So I'm just gonna give it a little toss. And I'll put this over on because I've got our table all set for us to enjoy our paella once we go off stream. So I'm gonna get this tossed. There we go. There we are. Do you want some wine, babe, with your paella?
I think I'm going to have a beer.
You're gonna have beer. What beer are you gonna have?
I don't know. It's a
You
good
don't know?
question.
Oh my gosh, that made me totally forget. My favorite pasta place. Oh,
Fiorella.
Fiorella on Friday. I'm gonna put this over on the table. It was absolutely fabulous, as I knew it would be. Just so delicious. Their pastas are just spectacular.
What is it? The rigatoni with sausage ragu. It
Yep.
is. It's very simple, but it's unbelievable.
It's very rustic.
outstanding.
It's so
Yeah.
there. So they have our two favorites that we get whenever we're there. We were being good last night, or not last night, Friday night. We split a little salad that was delicious they had, and then we split 2 pastas. And their pasta sizes are nice, but they're not like, you go to some Italian places and like you get pasta for 4. So we split them, and the 2 that we always have to get are 2 that are always on the menu, and one of them is their rigatoni, which is in this, of course, a homemade tomato sauce with homemade sausage. It's based on a recipe from the original, I think it was original like meat market or store that was there before they turned it into a pasta place, and it is just phenomenal.
That's my favorite.
It is phenomenal. It's Andy's favorite, and I love it too. But I am such a cacio e pepe person, and they make their cacio. Oh, and by the way, their pastas are all homemade, and they're cooked perfectly. They have the best chew, the best bite to them, so toothsome, so perfect. And then they make tonaroli for their cacio e pepe, and it's creamy and peppery, and it's a luscious sauce. And we've dined in there where you can they have a very small seating inside where you are across from the stoves. You see them actually make it. And they always have the extra sauce, but how they make it to put on
It's a Mark
there.
Vetri restaurant.
It's a Vetri, which is just a renowned chef
James
here.
Beard,
Yes. And so, anyways, it brings me such joy to go there. It unfortunately, the hard part is it kind of marks all pastas against that pasta. And we don't even get, like, they're not even fancy pastas. They're very rustic, cacio e pepe and a tomato ragu sauce, but they are phenomenal. So if you're ever in Philly, try to plan ahead and score a reservation. The inside of the restaurant's tiny, so it's so hard to get a reservation inside. But if you're there in the warmer months, they have more seating with outside. So yes, that is my recommendation. Fiorella, it is literally my favorite pasta
And we're going
place.
to Cucina Vetri.
So yeah, so we
Or
have not
Vetri
been
Cucina.
we've not been to his flagship place, which is
A little bit different
amazing.
experience.
And we went there. I forget what year. How long were we married when we went there?
It was probably what, 5-6 years ago?
Was it? So we're treating ourselves and going to Vetri Cucina for our anniversary this year, and it is, it's a price fix, and it's amazing. It is an experience. So we're very, very excited. And I'm sure now the only thing I'm not sure about is I will have to be very sly with my pictures, but I can't not show those because it's just us, and he will love me even if I take a picture. He might frown at me a little bit, but he'll still love me.
Yeah,
So I cannot wait to see what's going to be on the menu that night. All right, so it is time. Drum roll. And you sat down. What are you doing there, bud? Over this way.
Nope. Okay. Sorry.
All right, okay. I got my fork. So we have a lovely table set over there, but we are going to try it here in front. And of course, I know I'm going to need a picture. So Sweetness, can I borrow your camera?
Yeah, sure. Let me get it there
He's
for
so
you.
slow. I'm so sorry. He's acting like a turtle today. He's like not even in the process of getting up yet. So I apologize for the wait. You're all being so patient, and Hubs is just taking full advantage of that. Thank you, friend. All right, so let me show you first, and then I will go get a quick shot. Okay, oh, this is heavy. Look at that. You see how pretty?
You know what would make it even prettier?
You can eat it?
Shrimp.
All right, so let me get a picture. I'm gonna lay a fresh piece of rosemary over that for the picture because, why not? Oh, my Lord, is it heavy? My word. And you gotta go entertain the folks, love. Go entertain the folks. My wifey gets her fussy picture. Say hello, do a song and dance.
So, where did you have your best paella?
Ask them if they made it or if they...
No, you. I was asking
Oh,
you.
Casona's probably, because we've not had it at Amada. Casona's probably been my favorite.
Yeah, I think Casona was my favorite too. So,
But I can't believe we haven't had it at Amada. Like, how bad are we?
yeah, that was
I'm quite disappointed in us, to be honest.
something we should definitely do.
Aren't you disappointed in us? All right.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. So you're not digging in yet, so just hold your horses. The first thing I did want to do is see if I got, and I didn't. I didn't get any socarrat. So after live stream, I'm probably gonna put this back on the oven, or the oven. I'm put back on the burner. Let me get it up going. I'm gonna try to.
What did you get?
I wanted to get the crispy undercarriage, but it didn't. So
You allowed to eat?
yes, but do not go crazy.
Okay. Yeah, just,
Like just
just a little bit.
just a little bit. I'm gonna get a little chicken off for us to taste. There's a little chicken for you, a little chicken for me, because we're gonna be having this on plates, like
humans?
like humans. And get a little bean of both beans for
Oh.
Eugenia. Eugenia, I'm doing the perfect bite
Oh man, that's
with
good.
a little lima bean on there. And then don't eat too much because I want to try to get a thing on the bottom.
I just want to get the chicken.
All right.
Wow, that's good.
Ooh, so hot. Mmm. The rice is perfectly cooked.
No, it's
That's what I was worried about.
great.
Just do just rice, just to make sure. I probably could have added, I probably didn't need to add that last bit of water because it's almost a little, I'm being honest with y'all, it's almost a little overcooked. I would like a little more bite to it, but he's mush man. I'm a little more fussy. So what I would have done was not added that last bit, and then, you know, when you put the cover on, that helps steam, and trust the process. I didn't quite trust the process, and because of that, I also probably ruined my sauerkraut. So I'm going to go give that a whirl. Let me just take a green bean first.
Tell me not to eat much, and then you're just.
That is so good. So what I love is the flavor. The flavor's outstanding.
No, it's great.
It's perfectly seasoned. It's not too salty. If you're making it, do taste the broth that's been boiling before you add the rice to make sure the seasoning's right.
Yeah,
I'm glad I used, you know, I felt badly about adding the paprika. I'm just gonna put this here while I'm finishing with chit-chatting. But I am glad, actually, I'm glad I did, because I love the flavor. Like, the flavor of the paprika is just amazing. So that is a very humble meal, but it's flavorful, it's delicious, it's inexpensive, and I know a lot of people don't have a lot of money to spend on, you know, seafood tends to be more expensive. So for any of you who thinks I can't have paella because it's only seafood, like Hubs thought, you could have it with chicken, right? Or get chicken and maybe some inexpensive shrimp and add some shrimp to it, which I know they don't in Spain, they don't combine, and I get it. So, but yes, that is very yummy, very good. Cheers. Where's your beer?
Cheers.
And coming up, by the way, on Thursday, it's Thirsty Thursday. Did you know that, babe, this week?
I did not.
So this week it's Thirsty Thursday, and I'm sharing a recipe that I found, I don't know, a few months ago called the South Side. I've shared it on Twitter, like pictures of it. I made a short of it, but I've not done a stream about it, and I wanted to share, and I wanted to share the whole process of how you make a South Side. It is refreshing. It involves gin, lemon juice, simple syrup, and fresh mint. And I love fresh mint, especially in cocktails like mojitos, things like that. So, and it's gin, which Archie loved gin. So this is a great cocktail that looks lovely and just tastes phenomenal. We had it this weekend.
I don't think I'm going to be here.
I might have to do it by myself or invite the little one over. So yes, so that's Thursday. So thank you all. I hope everyone.
When are you going to do
now
it?
He wants to be
When
here.
are you going to do it on Thursday?
7.
Oh, yeah, I'll be here.
Okay.
That's
See
okay.
now. He's squeaking at the end. But yeah, so Thursday, and thank you all, everyone who came to join, Drew, Eugenia, Archie, Amy, Poe, Kath, Marissa, Baking Across Europe. I feel like, and Matthew, I don't want to forget my Matthew. I think that's everybody. If I forgot anyone, I am so sorry, and I will.
There was somebody, Catherine?
Catherine, that's Kath, yep. Oh, and Barbara, yay! I didn't see your little post there. My Jersey girl, Barbara, so thank you. I know that you are such a loyal follower, but just thank you all. And Flo, oh my goodness, Flo, I missed your little message there. I'm so sorry, my friend. So thank you all. So many came to join, and my love goes out to you. Hubs and I appreciate your support. Have a great week. Cook well, eat well, and until we eat again, see you, friends.